Losses always feel bad, especially so when you lose in the last minute of the game, but if you ignore that last minute, there's actually a lot to like here from Colorado. Avs lose to the Seattle Kraken 4-3. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of problems in this game, a lot of egregious errors that the Avs continue to make in their losses throughout this season, but this game was competitive, and based on the underlyings, you can actually argue the Avs were the better team. That wasn't good enough to win, obviously, so take that for whatever you want, but the actual hockey was pretty good. Good hockey only gets you so far, though. You have to put the puck in the back of the net, and the Avs continue to struggle to do that early in games. Not for lack of trying, the effort was there from Colorado. The start of the game looked good for them, but the puck didn't go in, and as time winds through the first period, you know one's going to go in the other way eventually if you don't capitalize, and that's exactly what happens. Seattle working back up the ice quick after the Avs dumped it out of their own zone. They're able to get into the Avs zone pretty free because of that, but this really shouldn't be that dangerous of a play. Mikko defending on the puck down in the corner of your screen here just loses his stick. Don't know if it just falls out of his hand or if it gets kicked out of his hand or whatever happened there. I'm not sure. But because Mikko doesn't have his stick, that opens up a shooting lane that initially and usually would never really be there. You'd have Mikko defending here, or maybe MacKinnon would be quicker down to come across if he didn't, or if he knew Mikko rather was going to lose a stick or something. But instead, that's a shooting lane that opens right up with a big screen in front. Prosvetov does overplay this a little bit. You can see he's pretty decently outside of his own post there, covering things that wouldn't go in the net anyway, but he never sees this one, and it ends up in the net. I think it's fair to say a lot of weird stuff happens to go Seattle's way against Colorado, but the Avs leave the door open for that weird stuff to happen. Had they produced goals earlier in the game, they take control of this, and these weird things end up being weird one-off goals that allow Seattle to be in the game from behind instead of take leads. As with every game against Seattle, it became extremely sludgy throughout the game, and you have to battle through that. Colorado did a pretty decent job of that, but again, when you allow Seattle to create chaos, sometimes weird plays happen. Seattle collecting the puck in their own zone. As they're going down the ice, the Avs are going to change, and to be fair, part of Seattle changes behind this play too, so in normal circumstances, this would be a pretty normal, safe change. The Avs do have 3 players back here, but the way this play plays out, the puck cuts to the net, or rather to the middle of the ice, and MacKinnon goes to cut it off. This is a pretty reasonable play. You also had Manson checking there, so he can cover the backside if that is where this puck goes. But the collision with MacKinnon ends up sending Lecky over the top and down on the ice, as Bjorkstrand just is able to stand right back up and go down the center of the ice. And now the Avs don't have enough defenders to cover all of the Kraken players because Lecky's hit just did not work out. And because of the change, the Avs back checkers are just a little bit slow back into the play, and that leaves a guy wide open in the slot. A bit unfortunate that that play plays out in the middle of a change for the Avs. If they have skaters just on the ice, they're back and covering. Instead, the change causes a bunch of players to get in undefended. Tough look there. So don't love the 2 goals against, but this is where I give the Avs a lot of credit for continuing to push in this game. They did not disappear like we've seen in some of their other losses. In fact, that first goal the Avs get back in less than 30 seconds. Makar's going to find this puck coming in behind his net, and he does a great job to recognize as he wins the puck that he has space and time to set this up and get this puck cleanly to MacKinnon. And from here, this is a textbook Avs breakout. Guys get on their horses up the ice. Lecky just touches it to the middle, and they are gone. A little bit of an overcommit creates it a 2-on-1. MacKinnon's going to find Byram on the opposite side perfectly. And Byram, honestly, live, I thought he hung onto this puck a little bit too long. I would have liked to see a quicker shot, but he knows better than me. He's able to settle this puck, pick the top corner, and nail it. You're seeing Bowen Byram start to slowly rev things up for the Avs and make that defense even more intimidating. Unfortunately, I don't think Devontae or Cale Makar were all that good tonight, so it was Byram kind of leading the way for them, and that was good enough to get them close, but not all the way. And the Avs continue to cause themselves more issues by taking silly penalties, and then by making weird defensive choices. Seattle working the puck back out high on their power play, and that initially causes Cogliano to go out and challenge. Pretty normal stuff for the Avs. The way they run this is when this puck comes across to the left to Beniers, it's on Devon Toews to step up and out to help defend with Cogs on this guy. Now, some space is usually given on this play. And I will say there is a little bit of interference going on net front here, but Devon still already should be taking strides towards Beniers. I don't care that he's getting cross-checked. He doesn't get knocked over. He needs to be moving towards Beniers already. Instead, he just kind of stands there. Cogs is behind the play. He's never going to get in and in front to deny anything. And Taves is just not effective in this play. He doesn't step out at all. He doesn't come to challenge at all. Beniers is already at the top of the face-off stats. I mean, hash marks, whatever you want to call it. Same difference. You can't let a guy walk in this far, especially not on your backup goaltender. And while this is a high-danger area shot, Prosvetov actively moves himself out of the way of the puck, so that's not great. Everything about that was just not good enough. You cannot let a guy walk in that far. You got to make a save on a puck that really you were in the way of. The Avs just made their life too hard in this game. Even then, they almost managed to do it. And that starts with the big dogs. What is initially a great opportunity for Mikko is a shot that he doesn't get a lot on, but the Avs stay deep in the zone. And this should be a turnover, but credit to Nichushkin for getting in deep and making this play change. Right there, he forces the puck flipped up the boards. It goes all the way through, and that is where Cale Makar is able to hold on to the puck. He couldn't really see it out of frame there, but Makar is able to collect it and immediately finds Nathan MacKinnon left alone on the back door. MacKinnon does a great job to use his space and finish the play. MacKinnon had a 3-point night in this game, so it's kind of hard to complain about him in this one. But 1 assist out of Rantanen and Makar, it's just kind of not enough. And I know that's an extremely high bar, but that's what you get when you're one of the best players in the world. The Avs would also lose Lehkonen in the second period. Just an awkward fall into the boards where he goes in head first. Pretty scary stuff, but in the general sense, he's all right. He has full body function, so that's great. Not sure how much time he's actually going to miss, but at least he's okay for the most part. And the third period, in my opinion, was another great one for Colorado. They're playing from behind, they play hard, they're dominating possession, and eventually get rewarded. Look, when the Avs are hungry, you have Mikko Rantanen in behind the goal line and Nathan MacKinnon in behind the goal line. The Avs can and do put in the work when they need to. You just like to see it a little bit more often sometimes. They eventually work it back out high to Devon Taves, who just blasts one into the net right as Nichushkin is sliding into a soft spot where he's going to be free to try and get a tip on this puck, and that's exactly what he does. The type of goal that the Avs have not scored enough this season. A greasy one from out high, bodies in front, you get a good tip on it, good things happen. A lot of those pucks, it feels like they're failing to even get to the net. So they clawed all the way back, and they were just about to get at least a point out of this game until they collapse. The Avs are defending in their own zone very late in the game. You're going to see the puck carrier come down the wall here, and you're going to see a handoff between Tufte and Girard here. So now it's Girard on the puck carrier, and when you take a look down low, Byram is fully taking the man net front. So there is no one covering the guy in behind. Realistically, there needs to be some communication on these two here between Colton and Byram, where Colton either needs to take the guy and they need to swap on the net front guy so Byram can go in deep, or Colton needs to take the man in deep. But instead, as the play develops, the guy behind the net just is left uncovered as Girard sticks with the man who was initially carrying the puck. And you're left in this awkward situation where Colton is now crossing here. And what Girard is expecting because of where Colton is another handoff to where now Colton can cover the man on the backside of this play. But instead, Colton continues to float, and all of a sudden, all of these plays are breaking down. Byram is slowly taking the puck carrier as Colton is slowly moving to the man net front. Girard is now out of the play entirely. And when this play comes through here, Colton eventually commits to the man down low. If he's going to defend the play this way, this puck cannot get out front. Just can't. You have to stop the puck from getting to that guy if you're not going to be there to tie him up. And that is not prevented. You're now giving a grade A chance right in front of your net. Girard, slow to get in and help Colton defend that guy. The initial play, still okay. You would have been fine here because Prosvetov makes the initial save. But as the rebound comes out, 3 players committing to the puck carrier, not aware of anything else on the ice. That is a gaping backside, and as the puck comes out, doesn't go the Avs' way, right to the Kraken stick, and they lose the game. There are a lot of problems on that play, and it's not taking any of the onus off of the skaters here, but eventually you need a save, or in that case, you need Prosvetov to smother that puck and not give up that rebound. I know I'm being hard on him here, but in every Avalanche win this year, they've gotten the saves they've needed out of both Georgiev and Prosvetov. This is the first game of the year where they did not get a save they needed. The other losses were the shutout losses, so regardless of whether Georgiev was bad in those games or not, it would not have mattered because of the Avs' inability to score. In this one, the Avs clawed their way back into this game, and yes, there was defensive problems. Yes, Prosvetov made a couple of good saves earlier in the game, but he needed to make one more than he did. Outside of the immediate impact of losing in the last minute of the game, which felt horrible, outside of that little bubble, I really feel pretty good about this loss. Colorado looked pretty darn good in it. They scored 3 goals instead of it being a shutout. They gave themselves a chance to win a game despite falling behind early. It ended up coming up a little bit short, and that's a good lesson to learn. Stop putting yourself behind in the first place, but the hockey was good. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. Head on over to thednvr.com for all of our coverage. I am Rudo, and boy, am I glad I don't watch Edmonton.